Awesome. Thank you, Brenda, for agreeing to do this interview. I will ask you a few questions on the Boost releases in recent months. And my first question for you is, back in September, we released Boost 1.4. What were some of the features that you want to highlight from that release?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Caroline. So actually, there were we got a lot of feedback from storage providers around that had been trying out Boost for some time. And so with 1.4, there were actually a lot of features that I think might have flown under the radar, even though it was direct feedback from you guys that we tried to incorporate in there. So one of the things that we heard a lot of storage providers basically say around Boost being like a bottleneck at some point. And so one of the things that we tried to identify was like, hey, what are some of the bottlenecks that we can help resolve? And so this, one of the most, I would say, computationally heavy pieces here is the COMP calculation. So with 1.4, you can actually now do your COMP calculation remotely, which just means your COMP can be computed on a Lotus worker node. And so what this does, it basically reduces resource utilization on the market nodes on your Boost node. And so then you won't have Boost being a choke point if you have to ingest like a larger amount of deals. So obviously we're doing more scaling work now, but that was kind of like one of the first steps that we did. Another piece of feedback that we heard from folks was around having a single wallet for using deal for deal collateral and deal message publishing. So originally we had this as two separate wallets and you kind of had to manage them separately. And so now you have the optionality to do that in a single wallet if that's something you'd like to do. And then let's see, a couple other things. So originally in the Boost UI, when you want to look into the sealing pipeline, originally querying the deal status would just give you this generic message called sealing, but now you can actually get the sector state of the sealing pipeline. And so you get a lot more details around sealing and kind of what stage your different sectors are in. So that's available now, so more visibility there. We also have the HTTP retrievals work that was released in 1.4. And so here you can basically do more discoverability around your HTTP endpoints. So you can basically set your HTTP URL that can be shared as part of your libpdp endpoint. You can also have that HTTP endpoint be publicly discoverable via Boost client. So trying to enable more HTTP retrieval paths there. And actually, this was more of a recent addition, but now piece retrieval has been enabled for Spade. So if you're taking any deals from Spade, like the piece retrieval should be working on Boost, and do file any bug reports if you run into issues there. So that's kind of a lot of the big updates we had with 1.4. And then one additional thing for anyone who's getting started with Boost, or maybe you're just looking into it, or you want to prepare for the migration now that the Lotus market subsystem deprecation end of life has been announced. But you can actually run Boost DevNet in Docker. And so there's documentation there also on the Boost repo. And yeah, feel free to reach out if you have questions, or it's also all of these details that I just talked about are in the release notes, so you can go read about them in more detail there.
Awesome. Do you have a link for the release notes, Brenda?
Yeah, I do. Let me pull it up.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you for the updates. And I also just wanted to add that the Spade engine that Brenda talked about, that was originally called Evergreen. If you have participated in the Slingshot programs in the past, you would probably be familiar. But if you haven't, the Spade engine is a SP-oriented deal engine where as the SP, you can go in and request for deals, and depending on where you're located and what kind of SP node that you're running, the deal engine will give you a list of eligible deals. So that's the Spade engine. Cool, awesome. I will put up the release notes link as well in this conversation. And I want to move on to the most recent release, 1.5. Brenda, can you tell us a little bit more about 1.5, and that in my knowledge that was released last week. So yeah, please tell the audience what is new.
Yeah, sure. So with 1.5, I'll just highlight some of the big ones, but basically, Lotus had recently released their Shark network upgrade. And so a lot of the Lotus dependency updates that we have for the network upgrade are available in 1.5. So um, I know the network upgrade was, I think, a couple days ago or maybe one day ago, but you do need to update to Boost 1.5. Otherwise, you'll be incompatible with the current network version. So do upgrade if you're using Boost to 1.5 to make sure you stay in sync with the current Lotus version and the network. So that's one really big piece there. And then I would say the second really big piece is that we've now added a retrievals UI. So you can actually see in the UI a list of all your retrievals. It's a 24-hour log. And so now you can have more visibility into kind of like the state of all your retrievals, kind of what's in process. If anything's kind of not working properly, you can go in and kind of get some details around your retrievals, which wasn't available previously. So hopefully that is helpful to all of you that are kind of starting out serving retrievals, or you're retrieving as part of like the Evergreen program, or you're serving retrievals to your clients. So that's another piece. And then one last thing that I want to highlight is the offline deal data import. So originally, with a lot of these data imports, if it ran into some issue like some compy mismatch or some timeout, it would be difficult to do the retry. But now we actually support retries, and so that should make it a lot easier for you to kind of just, instead of having to start everything over again, you can just easily retry that data import, and it should be able to just restart that whole process again. So yeah, those are, I would say, the big ones. There's also a couple of ongoing work streams, which I will talk about in a bit.
Awesome. Thank you for the overview, Brenda. This is super exciting and great to see that the team is up to so many good things. My next question for you is, what is the team up to in the next couple of months? What's up?
Yeah, sounds good. So there's a few big things I want to highlight that are very exciting. So a couple of you guys that are in this call or maybe watching this video is that we've been doing a lot of investigation around retrieval reliability and kind of helping to improve some of the experiences there. And one of the things that we've discovered is that sometimes your internal index will be out of sync, and a lot of this is due to some old deals or some of the things that are not working properly. So there's lots of investigation work that we're doing there in terms of like, how can we improve this experience, or have maybe some automated work to help kind of like re-index things. So there's some investigative work going on there, and hopefully we'll have a plan and can share more in terms of like what our definitive work is going to look like and how that impacts you guys. So that's still in very like early phases discovery, but I did want to say thank you to everyone who has been very patient with my incessant Slack DMs asking you questions around, giving us logs and giving us details around your retrieval failures and things like that. So thank you for that. And then I want to talk about two pieces of work that are ongoing. The first one being the Booster BitSwap is almost complete. And so this basically what Booster BitSwap is it enables you as a storage provider to serve retrievals via the BitSwap data transfer protocol. And so essentially what this means is that you'll, if you run this Booster BitSwap process, you'll be able to serve retrievals not only via GraphSync, but also via BitSwap. And so we would love some help with testing. Testing will likely be scheduled for like early January. So we're just wrapping up a lot of the work there. And so please reach out to me or tag me in the Boost channel or in the Boost help channel if you're interested in participating in that effort. And I will share more details as we wrap up this work. So that's the Booster BitSwap retrievals work that we're doing. And then another thing is the new piece directory that the team is working on. And so the piece directory is basically going to replace the existing DAG store. And so the reason why we're building out a new piece directory is to enable scaling Boost. And so I know we've asked a lot of you in this group as well for feedback in terms of like how, like maybe you want to have multiple boost nodes running, and maybe they'll be talking to multiple miner IDs and miners. And so essentially the new piece directory will support this scaling. And so yeah, it's like ideally, you know, we've put a lot of work into making sure that this piece directory is scalable and it's easy to manage for you guys. So I think I don't have necessarily like a concrete timeline in terms of when this work would land, but hopefully in early next year, we'll be able to share good news with everyone around this new piece directory. And ideally, it'll be, you know, more scalable than the DAG store, and it will just replace it and have, and hopefully a lot of the issues that you're getting with like corrupted DAG store and stuff, you will no longer see. So that's the piece directory part. And I think there's just one more thing really quickly is around metrics and stats collection. So thanks to Kyle on our team, he's Kyle and Anton have put a lot of work into basically collecting overall metrics and stats on your Boost nodes. And so we're working on integrating all of that work into the actual into Boost, so that you guys can also have visibility into your own like operations and have like, you know, nice visibility into just like more of an aggregated view instead of like one by one individual deals and how each one is doing. So yeah, those are probably the 3 big items that I was going to call out. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. Thank you, Brenda. And to everyone who is watching, please be sure to check out the link below. And yeah, let us know if you have any questions, or just give us a shout out in the channel. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.